You take a deep breath. Welcome. You're with Edgar Snowden, my brother Eddie. He's abroad now. Today is once upon a time. You gotta pace yourself to talk to the man, Stan the man. I can apologize for the self-hatred and the amour propre. I could hear the anger spill out, and it stung, because I didn't know I was doing nothing wrong. But never mind, it was wrong-headed in an old broken body and a mind and pneuma processing. It's all happening. It's like phlegm and phage and phloem phases and phylogenating, emulsifying, hydrogenating. It's a hydrogenerative prospect. And it's the opposite of hydrofracking. You take a deep breath that orients you at the center of gravity and levity and gravitas. And bit by bit, it's it from bit to qubit. And the so-called green revo devo, it's a tonic clonic seizure. It's a prodrome to an epileptic phase. It's a synthesis of the Haber synthesis variety with mustard gas. Hey, Fritz, how was the Führer? He was no nurturer for you. You break it down, you mean well. You give the benefit of the doubt, and still, in good faith, sometimes it's not enough. Death and sex and aging and orgasm. It's all there. Timothy McVeigh and Steve Bannon. Bah, Snowflake, Jerry Sandusky, the Paterno NATO. It's all Boston strong, sheltered in place, and placebo. It's Trump time, after all. Fore and aft, and for sure and for real, you circle around the stupa. What's next is no more, and then it is. Imagine. It's extinction 2112. And you translate and transgenerate, and you trust her thrust. Could I tell you how I've been reborn in the oxid ocean with vasoprescience? And tell you in some detail, do you have the patience? We take a deep breath. There's a patented trademark copyright, and the rites and rituals. You take a deep breath. There's a metacognitive synesthesia that takes you. The pebble hits the bamboo, one hand claps. You put her down on the other side and you go on, never giving a thought back. And you penetrate the panic and the pain, the guilt and the goofiness, the fear and the rage and the regret and the shame. And you tell breathtaking truth to BFFs forever. And it's mega hyper super. It's real. It's reality. And it's happening fast, geologically, in a geological instant. We will be spurlos versenkt. Lucky duckies we are. There's a lot of grounds for self-hatred in the amour propre of white privilege. It happens, as you know, there's a varicose and vain vagina monologue. You take a deep breath. We might as well be Ted talking here and whistling Dixie. And Dickory, it's a valedictory speech in an old broken body at the 50th reunion. And every shift is a gift, ship-shaped. I send myself to where I'm going in my mind and get the blowback to before we were born. In the Bitcoin blockchain, in the blockchain of the block universe, you take a deep breath. You wonder, how did this happen? How could we be rooting and branching in this particular way? The Coke 1% master narrative and official story takes things. You rotate and you coruscate and you collate. Teach me voice and vulnerability and vagina monologues. The very VJJ way. It's a hegemon, hypnopomposity. And its major feature is the Coke 1% prognosis, proto-taxis, thanatocratic. It's patriots and patriarchs, with and without protagonists and prognosis. We 36, the Lamadvovniks, we understand the inner breath. We await the witnessence. Enlightenment arises. You gotta believe in the triple-double Westbrook. If we could really see everything, we could be noticing Gesundheit. You sneeze and you cough, you pace yourself as an older man or woman to tell breathtaking truth to BFFs. All the time in the world you have. When you slip the cable and the coil of comorbid mortality, all will be well. Feel the wellness. Meanwhile, give the benefit of the doubt in faith and Rahmanas, faith and grace, truth and proof. Passover matzah, the afikoman passed to me, it passed me by this year. Rebbitzin, be real with me, Faye. We could be friends if you let that happen. Take a deep breath. You never really did that with me, and it hurts me to say it. I'm sad, mad, but not really. I can't be blamed, nor can you, for doing your best. When all is said and done, we won't have known each other. I could have helped, like I helped Mitch through BC. A little, just a little. But none of that matters now. And I don't know Josh. Or the girl, whatever her name is, I'm having a senior moment. I don't remember her name. It'll come to me. But whatever, I would like to be helpful to what's her name. Give me a hint. And a post-it, I'll write it down. I'm starting to lose it. I can't imagine the clock face and 1:15 and how it all comes around. What gone around. The whole 9 yards. Take a deep breath. And you three-peat in these times, at these times. Enlightenment is heightened. And you feel it intermittently, super orgasmically, orgasmically, eugenetically. Us 36 are like indigenous shame men and women. We've been culled and castrated countlessly, coping with comatosity and OCD and PTSD and OBEs and NDE, and the Kundalini rises and the Feng Shui has the scent of pheromones in it. And it's G-men in G-spots, liver spotted. It's Trump time and pussy grabbing is autoerotic and autistic greed without intimacy. Whatever happens in the spiteful spent fuel pools, you straddle the streams. You drink your Fukushima Kool-Aid. You're sucked into the vortex. It's a polar vortex, even a bipolar vortex. And us 36, stand by, pause, take a deep breath. You're reminded not to forget the G-spot of your comfort zone. You slow the pace to half speed so you get twice as far. And the great decimation is about to begin. There's a triple double entendre. And Russell Westbrook is there versus James Harden. And you kick out the James. And it's unselfish. And you team. You're like a sports writer in The Rite of Spring. And a Stravinsky in the cover. You take a deep breath. Remember Ray Rice and Jim Mixon and the draft and the post-NFL, post-concussive, NRA, NSA, nano-silvered future. You take your time and Adrian Peterson hits the line. It got light quick today, and it's moving faster, deeper than it was before. In our herbal administration, us 36 rule. It's Herbie for precedence. Practicing intention and intuition, you take the time You improvise and you inspire. Like a cook with a recipe, but a pinch of this and a pinch of that. You love feeding the culinary millennials with a civilized palate. You take a deep breath, you let go. My mother always said of me, I was a late bloomer, but I could hold a good grudge. What you holding up in? Do you have a comfort zone to be invited into? You offer a dress rehearsal for your own funeral. It's happening on a carousel. There's a certain loop dynamic to the shape dynamic. There's an angle of repose to your angular momentum and your radial velocity. You do the research on the parabiosis and the longevity escape velocity. And there's a Goldilocks gradient into everlasting, into the mainstream Midas touched. Us 36 spit into the wind, sprachen like black elk. Ebonics is the language for perfect audience. Perps and pimps and pundit poetasters, lame laureates and limptic besides, pussy putzes, my perfect audience, pussy Krampfstengel, and the bioacousticians. Statistically, it's significant what you're doing. In France, the pro-socialists won, and the codependents, and you realize your rotifers and your rotis and your channel and Ramdas. You be here now, potentially, bigly. You do your business, and it's Trump time on the B-side, and you take a deep breath. You flip the script, reverse the curse, LOL, YOLO, 9 lives, Katsa. You lubricate the levels. It's a soul-to-soul final solution, letting go the levels. Speak softly and carry your big dickly bigly. Bird by bird. You take a deep breath, the sun's reflective, and now I have to give up davening and navel gazing. And the gaunt gremlins cast large shadows fastly, furiously. It's Trump time. And that's Woodstock that I'm thinking of before it became Altamont, before Richie Havens became Alice Cooper and Tiny Tim tiptoeing through the tulips. Go ask Alice. You take a deep breath. There's a Mahatsita, a Bodhicitta, a Nisargadatta. Can I trust that guy, you ask yourself, or that girl, that full girl, Gaia, mature moon? You take a deep breath. You wonder, how does this go? They didn't pluck me out of nowhere like Steve Armstrong or Narinjan or Dalip. I'll go visit sometime. If they took me to Millis, Mahan and Pat Singh, Sat Singh, Sad Sack. You take a deep breath. I could call him, you know. But I probably never will. The realty is that. That's the hi-fi, Wi-Fi, high five. What was her problem that time? The gist is this, the reptilian brain. And Terry hurt my feelings just like Judith done. I even remember the number. I could tell it to you, but you might call it. I could call her later. We could get Pat's numbers from Johnny. And the Celtics made it even up. And the soap opera, the noble fourfold bubble opera, brought to you by no logo, brain trust thrust. You penetrate the panic and the pain, the grief and the God dead. You penetrate the fear and the friendship and the regret and the reconciliation and the shame. It's a tantric healing practice, body-friendly, effing story. In tantric, ahimsic, akashic, artistic, shamanistic, synesthetic sangha. It's what we 36 align with. It's like graphene or lasers or superconductivity. It's the quants in the qubits. It's it from bit. It's a quantum vacuum we're living in. You circle around the stupa and it's okie doikate. It's delish. It's a guided meditation. It's a harmonic convergence. It's one song. It's Kim Il-sung. It's the orange, the agent orange hair alert versus Kim Il-sung. And there ain't no winners. It's a lose-lose, and we're all losers in the Coke 1% master narrative official story. And you don't get, as a rule, you don't get what you've been craving for. And you're in the sacrifice zone. If it's not a sacred space, if we could see everything in retrospect, we could be noticing what's important now, here, nowhere. There are twisted tales, and there are Tommy guns and license to license. And he has his taxonomies, typographies, topography, and they shape shift. They give you license to license, and they're radial transformations and contortions that don't change the math. You got to do the math. Destiny has its math with 2020 hypo hindsight. The center of gravity is feng shui. One song, D.W. Barry Goldwater. You take a deep breath. You can hold a good grudge if you want. But about her death, I wonder, she and I were on exactly the same page with Patsy Henfstengel. Bobby wasn't broke in like Putsy would have done. And his Harvard teleologialistic, cannibalistic cohabitation of the space was kind of a Harvard Hitler land back in the day. And the Valedict validates, and you're my perfect audience. And the syzygy is there in amidst the synchronicity and the syllogisms. You take a deep breath. It's a panspermic, panchronic paradigm. And we got algorithms for that. We got to take the time and be crushed by Silvia Poggioli, and Donnie Schiaffaro was my neighbor. Hi neighbor, it's Belmont. It's 50th anniversary, it's time, and they're flashing me. They're streaking along the path. In our herbal administration, Dennis Rodman's going to be the ambassador to North Korea. And that'd be funny if it wasn't so scary, what's happening now. And we take a deep breath. The Black Knight has landed. The eagle has landed.